All right. Well, it's 2:01, so let's give an official welcome to everyone. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. We're really excited to have everyone in Northwest Ohio. So as you might know, we were just in Southeast Ohio for a regional event there last week. So we just got in our Tech Ambassador bus and we drove it on up Highway 33 right through the middle of Columbus, and we just kept on going. Now we're here in the land of Northwest Ohio. If you go all the way up to the corner, we're up to the divided loyalties between Michigan and Ohio State. But we're gonna have a great time, and we're really happy to have Nathan Turner here hosting this event, and we know you guys are gonna learn a lot here today.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm so excited to be here and happy to share my experiences with technology with you all. So let's get on to the core presentation.
Great. So what we're going to do first is we are going to do just a little intro here where I'll just kind of present the agenda and some very basic information to everybody. So I'm going to share that screen here. All right, so today's agenda, and we're in the middle of this first part right now, which is a short intro, which will be followed by our core presentation, with which Nathan and I will do together. We'll take a little break after that, and we want to present something that we call the Tech Ambassador Code. There's a short video we recorded that we think fondly of and we think you'll enjoy. And then we're going to turn Nathan loose and let him tell you his tech story, his background, and how it's intersected with technology through the years. We will have the short poll that I mentioned a minute ago after that. And then we're going to have the tech spotlight, and Nathan's going to lead this as well. He's got some really neat demonstrations to show everyone about how he uses digital assistants. I think everybody will find that very interesting. Then near the end, we'll leave some time for your questions and answers. And I'm sure we'll get some good ones here today. All right, just a very brief word about our virtual presence. If you want to know more about our Tech Ambassadors program, the best place to go is to our website. That's ohiotechambassadors.org. We all are also on both Facebook and Instagram, and you can go to either of those platforms and just search for Ohio Tech Ambassadors, and we should come right up. And we also have a YouTube channel, and that's notable because we are recording all of our events. So if there's one that you missed and wanted to come to that we've already done, it should be posted out there. And then this meeting is being recorded, and we'll post it out to YouTube as well. You may know we split the state into 5 regions. So all of the blue counties up here are the ones that we're specifically targeting this event to today. Just want to say a quick word about other events that are on our schedule. So we had our kickoff event in January, and right now we're in the middle of what we're calling our round 1 of regional meetings. We're having one in each region. So the last one of those will be next week with Robert Shoemake. And then we have added an event. If you've been to other events of ours, this will be the first time you've seen this one listed. So at this point, I'm calling this Tech Ambassadors Listen. It's April 6th at 10 a.m. The whole idea there is that we're not going to have a program for that event. It's all going to be about individuals and their families coming and getting a chance to tell us what you think about technology, what your questions are, maybe what your fears are. And basically, we're all going to listen and take note. You know, we may participate a little bit in those discussions, but listening is what that's all about. Then we'll have round 2 of our regional meetings, followed up by a statewide wrap-up event, which will probably happen around the end of May. All right. Well, it's time to get going with our next presentation, which is our core presentation Nathan and I will do together. So I will share that with you. All right, Nate, you ready to go?
I am. I'm excited.
Good, good. So this is, we're just calling this supportive technology in Ohio. If you've been to our other events, you may have seen this before. At the beginning of this little presentation, when we talk about what we'll cover in this brief time, we want to start out with 3 questions for you. And we want you to put yourself, if you're an individual with a developmental disability in the state of Ohio, this is directed toward you. If you're not, we want you to put yourself in the position of that person and think about it from their perspective. So question number 1, do you have trouble finding direct care staff to come to your home ever? Okay. Question number 2 to think about. If you don't live on your own, would you like to, but you have fears about maybe doing that? And then the third one, which is a little different, would you have considered telehealth, right? Doctor's visits over Zoom, a realistic possibility before COVID-19? Nathan, did you have a comment on that question?
I think I just wanted to talk about kind of some of my positive and negative experiences with telehealth and those types of supports in terms of being able to connect with a provider without me necessarily needing to have staff take me to an appointment, I think is a vital lifeline. But I still prefer the interaction with the physician because I have somewhat higher medical needs and I want to know that, you know, they're not missing something. So there are positives and negatives to both approaches. And I think all in all, it's a good opportunity for people with disabilities to explore because it's a way to have access to medical treatment, you know, and not necessarily have to go to an office.
Now, is this something that you did before COVID-19, Nathan?
Maybe once. I had a few telephone appointments for small things.
Okay.
But now
I'm sure
it's more often.
Your experience is probably pretty similar to a lot of people's. So just keep these questions in the back of your head as we're going through here. All right, so we're going to basically talk about the 3 things that make up supportive technology in Ohio. Those are assistive technology, which we think of as a range of different types of devices and electronic equipment that help make our lives better. Remote support, which is a way to deliver support in a way other than direct care when someone comes to your home. And then technology first, which is an Ohio law that it governs, is supposed to govern how care is provided to individuals. So we'll take assistive tech first. And as we said, this is just a bunch of different sort of equipment or services that can be used to enhance people's lives and make them better. So that could include things like digital assistants, you know, door locks. I'm not going to mention every one of these. You may recognize many of these types of things. Some of them are specific to individuals with developmental disabilities and the way that, you know, the types of help they need. Even internet service could be considered assistive technology. Nathan, you've got quite a few of these, right?
I do.
Why don't you give everyone
one of the reasons I decided to focus on digital assistants for this tech spotlight is because they're so readily available and they're available at different price points and they can do so many different things and they're embedded in so many different things. It's just, there's so much upside for people with disabilities in terms of being able to increase their independence that I had to focus the spotlight on them.
Excellent. Okay, so these are just devices, so they can help people without being connected to a remote support service. Right? You could just, you know, a lot of these things, as Nathan mentioned, are so inexpensive, you just buy them yourself. Some of the Alexa devices, I think of, you know, $30, $40. Whoops, I'm going to go back one. The questions that we want to think about here are, so which of the above did you already know about? I mean, many of these are commonly used in anybody's home, right? Which do you use? Again, thinking of from the perspective of a person with an individual who has a developmental disability, which of these things might you already use in your life? If there's some you don't, could you use them?
And I think about this too when it comes to getting a new piece of technology, how it fits with everything else. So you might find, if you have Apple products or Amazon products or Google products, you stick with that ecosystem because everything integrates very well.
Great point. Great point. Having said that, I think you've got several different ecosystems, right?
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah. All right. So the next topic is remote support. So, and this is a service that's been around in the state of Ohio for a long time, pretty close to a decade at this point. It used to be called remote monitoring, but improvements in the service make remote support a more appropriate term. And if you think about the fact that when this service was first rolled out, it was very often delivered with cameras or other sensors where people in a remote facility could kind of see and hear what was going on inside of a home. But what really didn't happen early on is a lot of interaction. So the big game changer that ends up making remote support more appropriate is that these days we have two-way video capability that comes along with the service. So just like Skype or FaceTime or any other, Facebook Messenger sort of two-way video, you can talk to a person who's delivering the remote support in addition to them just being able to see and monitor what might be going on in the home. It could be used for help with cooking or dressing, medication, safety checks, all kinds of things. And, it does help people live more independently because we may not need direct care staff sitting on our couch or in our kitchen. And it also helps cover shortages in direct care staff. In Ohio, we experienced that, like many states, most states in the country. It's hard to find good direct care staff sometimes to come to folks' homes. Really key point here is for people who are considering remote support, this is a service that's completely customized to the needs and wants of that individual. So only necessary equipment's put in place. If people feel uncomfortable having a camera inside their home, that's not a requirement. They can pick and choose what they want. Assistive technology equipment almost always goes with the service, unlike the point we made a minute ago where assistive technology equipment could sort of live by itself without remote support. So Nathan, you do not have remote support at this point. Am I right about that?
I have an emergency button, but that's all I have.
Okay. And do you feel comfortable sharing with people, for you particularly, why that is the case?
I have a lot of physical support, so I really do rely on a lot of staff intervention to just have assistance with all of the activities of daily living that people would otherwise do for themselves.
Okay. So a couple questions to leave you with on this point. Is this a service you already knew about? Do you use it already? If you don't, and again, thinking from the perspective of that person with developmental disability, could you use this service? Would there be opportunities for you to use that service if you don't? All right, last topic, technology first. So as you might know, this was an executive order that was signed into law almost 3 years ago now by Governor Kasich. Okay, and if you know a couple of our other tech ambassadors, two of them actually got to attend that event in Columbus, and they were pretty honored and excited to do that. I've got a link in our presentation here to the actual order. You can find that on the Nisonger Center's website, and it's really not a hard read. It's only about 3-4 pages, and it's interesting to read that. We'll boil down what it does here. Basically stated that supportive technology is going to be prioritized when addressing people's needs in Ohio. In other words, it's not even so much could you use technology, it's more like why couldn't you? We're going to present technology first as the solution. So the other thing that the order did was to create the Ohio Technology First Council. That's a group of people that have been meeting since the order was signed, talking about and making decisions to help make remote support and assistive technology a really realistic option for people. Some people may not have considered it to be realistic. A couple more little points. So if you're that individual with a developmental disability, what would you do if your SSA is not discussing technology with you as a preferred solution? Okay, just a couple of quick suggestions if you find yourself in that situation. We've got a lot of very, very good SSAs or service coordinators in the state of Ohio. But it's not impossible that something like this could happen. Obviously, advocate for yourself, or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, hopefully you've got someone that can help advocate on your behalf to that SSA. Hey, we would really like to have a more involved discussion about technology and think about what it can do for us.
And in my experience with individuals and families, there's just a lot of effectiveness when you, as an individual and a family, bring this to your SSA and say, hey, I've seen this online, or I've heard about someone who's had a positive experience using these technologies. Would I be able to access those through my waiver? Or what other funding sources do we have to figure this out?
Right. And, I'm going to say 95% of the time when you do that, the response you're going to get is that SSA is going to get to work on your behalf and look to try to meet those needs and discover technologies if they need to. In those rare occasions where maybe that doesn't happen, you always have the option of contacting an SSA director in your county or even following a complaint process. Every county in the state of Ohio has one of those. Yeah. So the message here is there's no scenario where you can't consider technology as a possible solution for you.
Assertive communication and problem-solving skills are key to advocacy, and they'd be key to helping you in this case.
Absolutely. So just think about that for a second. Put yourself in the shoes of that individual again. What would it take for that person to truly follow technology first as a philosophy for their life? If you're an SSA or you work with SSAs here today, think about it from your own perspective. What would it take for you to truly follow technology first as a philosophy for the way you help support people? All right, quick wrap up. Assistive technology and remote supports help to provide ways for us to cover gaps where we have them in direct care staff and for people to live more independently when that's what they want. And then technology first kind of provides the impetus, the directive for us to really think first in terms of using those solutions. Question to leave you with. Think about that telehealth Zoom doctor visit that we started out with. These days, those types of things are considered to be realistic, if maybe not perfect for every situation, right? Where most people probably didn't think they were very realistic a year ago. If you think about the technologies we've talked about, assistive technology, remote supports, in that same way, right? Could these technologies be a little more realistic than you previously thought? Any footnote you want to add to that, Nathan?
I just think that it's really important for individuals and families to creatively and holistically think about the things they want to do as a basis for how technology can help them. And that's another great way to positively frame that discussion and make it more holistic and about what individuals and families want in their lives.
Excellent. Okay. So as I mentioned a while ago, we're going to briefly pause to show you a little video that we came up with. So this came from some planning sessions that we did with our tech ambassadors before we started holding our events, I should say. So back in December, we kind of asked the tech ambassadors to each think independently about what it meant to them. What is a tech ambassador? And they gave that some thought over a few days. And then when we met next, we gave them an opportunity to just kind of tell us what their thoughts were. What is a tech ambassador? And we kind of sit and listen to them for 20 or 30 minutes and kind of wrote down what they said and kind of boiled that all down to something that we call the Tech Ambassador Code. And that is what this video is all about.
I'm a tech ambassador.
I am a leader.
I lead by example.
I will speak up as an advocate
and promote the use of appropriate technologies
in all aspects of life.
I'm a listener.
I listen to my peers
and try to understand them beyond their words.
I am a communicator.
I use my comfort with myself
to help me be comfortable talking to others.
I am knowledgeable.
I constantly learn technologies
and how they best can be used
to improve independence.
I am creative.
I think on many levels
for possible solutions
for my peers and others.
I am accessible.
I am visible to my community
and easy to reach.
I am responsible.
I follow up with my peers
and others who reach out to me
after and between events.
I am relatable.
I talk to my peers as equals,
including both my successes
and struggles in my story.
I am a tech ambassador.
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 Oh, that makes me smile every time I watch it. All right, Nathan, the spotlight is about to be on you. It's time for Nathan Turner to tell everyone his tech story. Take it away.
Well, sure, George. Thank you so much. And I'm so delighted that everybody could come and join me to learn more about remote supports and how assistive technologies have made such a difference in my life and really, I think, improve the quality of life for all people with disabilities. And I was so eager for this project because I've spent 15 years promoting advocacy and self-determination and equality in the disability community. And I'm passionate about how, as George said at the beginning, how technology intersects in the lives of people with disabilities to allow them to achieve their full potential. So, to just let you know a little bit more about myself, I am from Holland, Ohio, which is a suburb of Toledo, and I want to give a warm welcome to everyone from the Toledo area and the Northwest Ohio region and across the state, just again for joining us today. I attended Springfield local schools, and I went away to Wright State University to study, and I was educated in political science and international studies there. And one of the two key points about my time at university are both that I learned a lot about myself and about the disability rights movement and how to be an advocate in terms of knowing what I liked and didn't like and learning about how to communicate assertively and use my problem-solving skills. And I use those experiences as a basis to really learn about my rights and responsibilities later on. When I finished with university, I came back home and got involved with the National Youth Leadership Network and the National Council on Disability, and also the Ohio Statewide Independent Living Council. And from there, I really got involved with my local county board in Lucas County, and I took a training in 2017 called Project STIR, which is Steps Towards Independence and Responsibility. And from there, I helped them to establish an advocacy organization called Salute, which is Self Advocates Lucas Toledo. And we're focused on several key priorities right now. Transportation, especially in Lucas County, is really important because we don't have a countywide transportation system, and a lot of people with disabilities are underserved there and really don't have equitable access to the community. So I've been, especially this past week, writing a lot of letters to state policymakers about the importance of transportation, but we're also focused on building relationships with law enforcement. I have an initiative scheduled this week to talk to police officers about how people with disabilities can build better relationships with law enforcement and have good interactions in the community when they do occur. And I'm also passionate about giving people with disabilities the tools to work in the community. Giving people with disabilities the tools to work in the community and just educating them on the benefits of work and that it's okay to go to work and keep your public benefits at the same time within certain thresholds. And I've worked with the Lucas County Board on a grant to educate individuals with disabilities on financial literacy. So I really do keep busy, and I really just see it as my passion to give back to the community. So did anybody have any questions I forgot to ask in the chat?
Don't think we have any in the Q&A right at
I
this
know I
point.
said a lot quickly, so I just want to make sure that no one had any questions. So thank you. And also, aside from my advocacy, I am employed in a community job. I work part-time, part-time entirely remote as what's called a web quality rater. I do a lot of work with machine learning and artificial intelligence for big search engine companies to improve how those products work in the community. And that's partially why, too, I wanted to do my spotlights on these digital assistants.
So we do have someone raising their hand if you want to take a little break and let them ask the question.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Okay. So here comes Renee, I believe.
Hi.
Feel free to unmute there if you'd like.
I need, I got a question.
Sure, pleasure to see you.
I don't know if this is part of your job or not, but I thought I would ask. I have a smart home, and right now, when the electricity went out, it got all messed up. And I cannot get stuff back to where it was before that. And I think I know how to do it, but I need someone to help me do it. And I was wondering if, as a tech investor, do you have resources like that that could help?
I don't know that I have specific resources, but I do have a brain and I'm pretty knowledgeable with how these things are set up. If I could get to you, I'd be more than happy to help you one-on-one fix this issue. I think that the first thing, have you?
I think it's gonna be more of a physical issue.
Yeah.
I,
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, but I think I'm gonna have to have somebody take out light bulbs, take out the plugs. I got so many things that need to be reset. So I think it's maybe more of a physical. It might be that I just need to delete my app, but I'm afraid to do that and reinstall my app.
Yeah, that was my immediate suggestion to you, Renee, is that you want to rule out software as the concern. So reboot, your phone or the main device that you have. You might
Yeah,
want to
I did.
unplug,
I
unplug
did.
your assistant and plug it back in.
I did all that.
Okay, and you've
I,
reinstalled the app on the main
no,
device.
no, that's the only thing I haven't done because I was terrified to get to delete that
So I
app.
think that's probably the next step. And if you need me to follow up with you one-on-one, I'd be more than happy to do that with you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's
No
totally
worries.
fine. I appreciate the question.
Yeah, and it's probably an appropriate thing to highlight the importance of having someone who can make a visit to your home there. Whether that would be your SSA, and if they don't have technology background to be able to help, maybe they can find a person to come out and do that. Maybe you've got someone at your county board that can help with that, or maybe
And
somebody from one of the technology companies can help with that.
that's actually a really critical point, George. I know and I don't know why I didn't mention this in the tech story part, but being I'm actually the first individual served to sit on the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities as a result of my work with Salute and the work that I've done in the community advocating. I hope to maybe be joined by another individual soon enough. Cross our fingers. But one of the issues where I find people are getting stuck is really just needing that physical assistance to set up the technology. And during COVID, a lot of the dedicated board staff that would assist with that really weren't permitted to go into the homes. I'm not sure about dedicated remote support providers. I hope that they maybe could intervene if they were authorized to do so, but just having that physical assistance is a really important component for people that need a lot of physical supports like myself to access technology.
Yeah, and most of the remote support providers in the state of Ohio, I believe, would come visit your home. There's a budget separately for training on assistive technology that could help cover some of those needs.
Did you want to run a couple polls?
Yes, actually, we've got one poll with 2 questions that are important, and I'm going to go ahead and just launch these. Okay, so what we're trying to do here is collect some information from you guys on potential barriers that are out there, and we want to know what you think. So question number 1 is, what is the biggest barrier to people with developmental disabilities attending events like this one? We've got a lot of professionals here from county boards and other places, which we're very happy about. But we'd love to have more individuals and families attend some of these events. So tell us what you think about that. And then the second question is, what is the biggest barrier to people with developmental disabilities using technology in their lives? Okay. So think about that. We're collecting this information in our events all over the state, and your feedback is going to be very important to us in helping to make a report back to DODD at the end of this grant effort. So we'll give you just another minute to fill out these poll questions, and then it will be time for our tech story, where Nathan's going to get to do some super cool demonstrations for everyone. All right, just another couple of seconds. What is the biggest barrier to people with developmental disabilities attending events like this one? And then what is the biggest barrier to people with developmental disabilities using technology in their lives? All right. So thank you very much for your responses. I'm going to go ahead and end this. If we have time at the end, I may share the poll results with everyone. Okay. Nathan, are you ready to do some of your demos in the tech spotlight here?
Yes, I'm gonna do a live demonstration. What could possibly go wrong? Hopefully very few things, but
Yeah.
and that's one of the things you'll notice about these remote supports or remote assistants is that they may not always be accurate 100% of the time, and that's okay. It happens. It depends on the audio device you have in your environment. So we'll see how well it does. And just to get started, while I share my screen, I have the newest Samsung Galaxy device that I'm going to be running the Google Assistant from today. And part of the reason I have that device is because Samsung and Microsoft have collaborated on the Your Phone app so that I can almost entirely control my phone with a keyboard and mouse on my computer, and that's a tremendous productivity boost for me with my limited dexterity. And so momentarily, I am going to share my screen. Oh, there it is. Okay. So now you all should be able to see my device. George, can you tell me if...
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, great. Okay, so, and this is my actual phone screen, and all of the computing is done on the phone itself. It's just kind of mirrored to my desktop. And 1 second. Okay, so, and like I said, this is an Android device, so it comes with the Google Assistant pre-installed, but since it's a Samsung device, it also has Bixby as well. And you might find with some devices and apps, you're going to have choices of what assistant you want, and you might just choose the one that you have on most devices. And just really rudimentary, these digital assistants are designed to complete electronic tasks that one would otherwise use their hands to do. And almost anyone can do them. And all you need to be successful at this is a compatible device. And there are so many different devices we've already discussed, but then also you need a internet connection. And for the most part, this is Wi-Fi. And the last thing you need is a trigger phrase. So in this case, it would be, "Hey Google, show me my calendar." Yes, I'm also on the board for the Advocates for Basic Legal Equality, and I have a meeting there tonight as well. And as you can see, it brought up the entry and showed it to me. "Hey Google, show me my shopping list." And as you can see, strawberries, blueberries. I love berries. Kleenex. Yeah, so it brought up most of my shopping list, and I have a button here to see more. Let's see. "Hey Google, flip a coin." Yeah, see, that one's a little more humorous, but you know, if you ever needed it to be there, it's there. And math is another really important one for me. Hey Google, multiply 14 times 5. I'm terrible at math, so that one really helps. And, okay, Google, show me recipes for chicken tacos. And then if we scroll down, you can see we've got plenty of recipes for chicken tacos. Hey Google, what's the weather like today? Okay, and I'm not exactly sure what level of volume you all have on, if you all can actually hear the assistant, but at least you can see it. It's giving me an audio response as well, and so hopefully you all have an audio and a visual response. Hey Google, define self-determination. Okay, so it did what I asked, but that wasn't really what I wanted. Okay, Google, what is self-determination with disability? Okay, so that's great. Hey Google, give me quotes from Ed Roberts. Excellent. Mr. Roberts is one of the founding members of the independent living movement for people with disabilities. And the assistant is also really helpful for basic medical information, although it doesn't replace medical advice. One of my favorite things to do is read about my primary condition. So I'll just do, hey Google, what is cerebral palsy? And one of the things I really like about the Google Assistant is you've got an audio response and a visual response if you've got a device with a screen. And you could also do plenty of just sort of things with nutrition and recipes. So, hey Google, how many calories are in a slice of pepperoni pizza? Okay. And then also one final thing, you can do sports and scores really easily. So, hey Google, who won the Big Ten basketball tournament? Okay, so you can see that's really helpful too. You've got the scores and you've got an audio component. And one last piece, because we have a few extra minutes. What are some great restaurants nearby? Oh my, Rosie's Italian Grill is one of my nearby favorites. It is so good. I love Italian food. And you can do this with any category of local business. Okay. I know I'm a few minutes early, but I'm sure we have more questions and answers from the audience. Or, oh, one other thing I wanted to show you all. So the Google Assistant is great, if you have limited dexterity, but as you can see, it requires a fair bit of cognition and reasoning, and and it has to be able to understand you. So one of the things that Google has done to address this is create what they call action blocks. And they basically take specific elements or functions that are within the Google Assistant and make them into a widget that you can put onto your home screen, and it does all of that with the tap of a button. And a lot of people without disabilities appreciate this functionality that was developed for people that process information a little differently, or folks that are elderly, or folks that really just cannot use a smartphone because of advanced physical disabilities to access these devices. But I love when these types of innovations are picked up more broadly because they're easier for everybody, not just people with disabilities. And one example I have here kind of ties into, an emergency situation. It's just a little widget that plays a pre-recorded message in case of an emergency. So someone could just press this and you'll hear what it says. And you can make that say whatever you want, but for someone with a cognitive disability, I think that would be really helpful. And so that was basically the meat of my technology presentation. I know there were a few questions in chat that I wanted to answer, and hopefully now we'll get a few more.
All right. Yeah. So if you can end sharing your screen there, and then we can see if we have folks raise their hand.
Let me see if I can figure that out. Oh shoot. Okay. I think I did it.
There you go. That's perfect. So it looks like we do have one of our attendees who wants to come on and ask a question. And I wonder, because this, Courtney, you've also written a question. I'm wondering if it's the same question.
I promoted Steve Jacobs, so he's on this.
Oh, wonderful.
Steve's here. We'll let Steve talk then. Steve, do you want to come on with your camera and your audio? You're welcome.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see him.
There we go. Hey, Nathan, how are you?
Hi, it's been so long. It's so good to see you.
Thanks. It's been about 16 years.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. A really long time.
I was going, your presentation kind of served as an introduction to my question.
Okay.
And my question is, when you discover that some need where there's no assistive technology available, is there a process to take that information and give it to a developer that might have an interest in developing it? And very specifically, you were demonstrating Google Assistant.
Yes.
But what about people who are unable to speak? What about people who do not have a voice that can be recognized by Google Home or Alexa? We were told about that problem 6 months ago. We found funding and are developing what we call a smart home remote. And this is something we're giving away at no cost. It's being funded through Georgia Tech. but it will enable people who either choose not to speak or are unable to speak or can't speak legibly enough or clearly enough to drive these smart home devices. It'll enable them to use it. So the more ideas we get, the more fun we can have trying to figure out how to solve the problem through technology. So my question is there a process to gather all of these ideas and publish them?
I'll just
That's it.
take that one, Steve. Thank you for the question. And if those of you who read in the Q&A, I kind of typed an answer in there as well. That is really not the primary directive for our grant. However, anything that we can do to help pass on information to folks who want to develop products, I think all of us in this program would be more than happy to do. We do not have any formal process for doing it, but informally, let's stay in touch. If you guys are, developing wonderful new products like that, and we could be a part of it, I think we would love to.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I
Okay,
have to be
thank
in
you for the
touch with
question.
Steve too. So yeah, we'll definitely be in touch after.
Okay, Nathan, thanks.
Thank you. It's so good to see you.
Great. We've got a couple more here. Let's see, who are we promoting next, Courtney?
Courtney Heineman.
Ah, welcome, Courtney. Hi.
Hello, pleasure to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I wanted to ask you, in the beginning, when you were introducing yourself, you were talking about a financial literacy program that you offer to help people with disabilities learn that. And I was just wondering if there's a way that we were interested in learning more about that. If I could reach out to you, because I work for the Butler County Board of DD and I co-lead our self-advocacy group. And I think that might be something that that people in our advocacy group might want to learn more about.
Yes, we have a financial literacy program called Money Matters, and it has 3 parts. The first part focuses on budgeting and basic financial awareness. The second part focuses on Social Security and work incentives and what happens to public benefits as you go back to work, and really just empowering people to go to work, because there are ways to keep Medicaid when you do work. And then the third piece is focused on soft skill development. So yeah, I'd be more than happy to connect with you after about Money Matters and connect you with Sherry Attaway at the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities to get more specific questions answered.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you for that
Thank
question.
you.
Okay.
Who's next?
Jeremy Bellamy. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong.
Here comes Jeremy.
Nathan, are you doing the same presentation for our People's First on Thursday?
Oh, did we lose Nathan?
Do you know what? I think he's coming back here in just a second.
Hey,
That may have been my fault.
Here he is. Hold on. Nathan, you're muted.
We'll ask him to unmute.
Okay,
Sorry about that,
back
Nathan.
now.
You're
There
back.
we go. Jeremy, do you want to ask that again?
Great.
Yeah. Nathan, are you doing the same presentation on Thursday for the People's First of Lucas County?
Yeah, it can be similar or it can be tweaked. If you want me to do more of a tech presentation, I can do that too. Yeah, just send me an email after the meeting and we can figure out how exactly you want to move forward with that. But yeah, I'll be there Thursday evening.
Well, Kelly wasn't sure how he was going to do it, so we were just wondering.
It's up
All
to
right.
you all.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for that
Thanks, Jeremy.
question. All right.
And Renee Wood. And then I think we have one more hand up after Renee, and that is
Yeah.
Pat Berman.
By the way, we'll happily stay around if folks have more questions
Oh
after.
yeah, I have no problem with sticking
That's okay.
around if folks wanted.
All right, Renee?
Hi again, Renee.
Hi, Nathan. You did a good job at showing us what that could do on your phone, but I have a Samsung phone, so obviously I can't use it very well. But what you didn't show us was how you actually get the phone to mirror to your computer. I know you got the app, but there's some button that you gotta push on the app, or can you do it on your computer?
Oh yeah, sure. I'd be more than happy to clarify that setup process. And that's actually a really good point. It doesn't just automatically work like that, but it is really simple. With a Samsung device, they have a QR code reader or a link to the QR code reader right in the top menu. So you just pull that down, and when you click on the Your Phone app, you scan a QR code, and then it will incorporate the two devices pretty easily.
Where do you get the QR code?
It comes up on the screen. It's right in the app.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is the app on the phone or is the app on the computer?
You have to have it on the phone and the computer, but I believe it's integrated into modern Samsung devices. And then you would just install it, or I think it might have even been pre-installed on my Windows PC.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for that.
We've got one more here, right?
Yep. And Pat Berman is coming on.
Welcome, Pat.
Hello.
Hi.
This is Pat and Jenny. I think these presentations are absolutely fabulous. As a parent, I am so thrilled to hear all this stuff. And I see you're recording it.
Yes.
Is there any, it's hard. I can't even take notes that fast. Is there a place that I could go and see these again? And I would like to actually show them to other members of our family so they can understand what's happening as we plan for the future.
Yes, we have social media and a YouTube channel where this will go afterward, so that if folks want to, if they couldn't attend or they want to watch it again, it'll be readily available on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you have a YouTube channel, you said?
We do,
yes.
And how do you just go to Tech Ambassadors YouTube, or?
Honestly, if you go to YouTube and you search for Ohio Tech Ambassadors, I believe we'll come right up in YouTube.
The last time I looked at it, it was only one thing, though.
I think we've got about 7 out there now, and those will continue to grow.
Okay, I think they're fabulous. Keep it up. You're doing great work. It's amazing, and the information is fabulous, and I love you picked really good ambassadors. Thank you very much. Did you enjoy
I
them?
think I would wholeheartedly agree with that. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for coming.
And
We
Jennifer
appreciate it.
loved it too. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. All right,
right.
and we have Stephen Kyman.
Oh, yay. This will be exciting. Need someone else I haven't seen for a while.
Okay. Stephen, you're currently muted.
Welcome, Stephen.
Sorry, I'm unmuting.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi. It's
Hey,
nice.
Steve, it's good to see you.
It's nice. Good to see you. I don't know. I came late to the presentation. Did you guys talk about Dragon Naturally Speaking?
I did not. I could. I didn't think it was as exciting.
Okay.
So I didn't talk about it so much, but if a lot of people really want to know how I use Dragon Naturally Speaking, I could consider that and maybe talk about it a bit at my next event.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good
I
point.
just was curious. I was just curious. I don't mean to be a smart.
No, you're not. I talked about it in my bio, so it's fair.
Right. That's a
But for
great
the,
piece of software.
it is. It really is.
You know, probably the primary, voice to text thing that's been around for well over a decade. Very
Okay.
good.
Yeah, but Nathan, we should catch up after this
Yeah,
meeting.
we should. I know you've had a rough couple months, but yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah. Okay. Nice to see you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
All right. I'm looking. I think that might have worked out just perfectly. I think we've got all of our Q&A cleared. And I guess at this point, I just want to say again, thank you so much to everyone who came. Thanks to Nathan for all the great information and presentation. Thanks to our ASL interpreters and the rest of our core team who helped us put on this event today. We have so much fun doing these, and we'll be back to this area again before we're done. If you care to join us next week, we'll be in Southwest Ohio with Robert Shoemake. And everyone have just a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Tuesday. And
thank you so much for coming.
Sign off. Bye, everyone.